After yet another hard season with Newcastle United and FM23, it's time to have a look at the season review for Season 2. Prepare ourselves for our third season in charge. Hello and welcome back to our FM23 beta with Newcastle United, where today we're going to have a look at our season review of Season 2. Spoilers, it didn't go that well again. We'll have a look at the new arrivals first. We'll have a look at the transfers, the competitions, all of that lovely stuff, and then we'll have a quick look at maybe who we could buy in, how we could improve this team for next season, because I am determined to actually get into European spots or win a domestic trophy, or just something, because at the moment it's not exactly great, is it? These are the transfers we brought in this season. Starting from the top, Thomas Lamar came in recently. 9 appearances, 3 off the bench, 6 goals and 2 assists. I think that was £13 million well spent. Cole Palmer, obviously on loan with us last season, but again has come in and had a good season. We paid $34.5 million for him, which looked expensive, but you look at actually what he's valued at now, that turned out to be quite a cheap deal for us. Milankovic coming in a January transfer window as well, has been pretty good. And Antonio Silva, our 20-year-old wonder kid at the back again, has had a pretty decent season, made 34 appearances, scored a couple of goals, which is not overly important as a centre-back, but he's got a really, really good rating. Moving down the list then, we've then got Trubin, who got a good run of games when Livakovic was injured. He also conceded quite a lot of goals, which isn't ideal. Then got Hudson-Odoi coming in this season. He's been plagued with injuries. If we have a look, it would be from here onwards. When would he have joined us? Yeah, so around here. So we got a bruised shin out for 2 days, a twisted ankle for 3 weeks, a pulled hamstring for 12 days, a pulled ankle ligaments out for 2 weeks, twisted ankle out for 3 weeks, pulled ankle ligaments out for 2 weeks, and currently is out so far for 12 days with pulled knee ligaments. His knee ligaments, his knee ligaments and his ligaments in general apparently are made of silly string, I can only assume, because he gets injured so often. Enzo Fernandez, another player coming in we spent quite a lot of money on. I haven't been overly satisfied with him yet, but he has still got those good attributes there. It doesn't help he hasn't played that often as a central midfielder on attack. He's tended to be playing as the deep-lying playmaker, but he should be able to play that role fine. I'm hoping that's just a case of he needed a year to settle in, and this year will be firing on all cylinders. We then bought Nuno Mendes, of course, in the January transfer window. Spent a lot of money on him. Again, I'm hoping he comes good next season. We might have to readjust our tactics maybe to suit some of these signings a little bit better. Lucas Torreira, we didn't pay a lot of money for, and he didn't really end up playing a huge amount of games, and he hasn't looked really good in any of them. Urian Timber, another one, has flitted between right back and centre back, and has been pretty solid overall. He's been pretty decent. I think we've been pretty happy with him. He hasn't done anything outstanding, but nothing too bad. Miraz coming in the January transfer window just as a backup, and then Broja coming in on loan. Didn't really do a huge amount, to be fair. And actually, if you go back a page, we've got the transfers out as well. Matthew Target went, Joe Ilton obviously went this summer as well. Matty Longstaff, Almirion, Yao Mario, Sven Botman, Sean Longstaff, Yavi Mankio, Rykick. There's lots of players out on here. I think that kind of fair enough. Matias Arezzo out on loan at Brighton, 16 appearances, 10 goals. So that loan has helped him out, to be fair. Vivian's going to come back as well. I forgot we sent him out on loan. He probably goes this summer. Puyol, who is the Australian striker that Newcastle bought in real life, hasn't had a bad season. He hasn't had a good one. I don't think he's going to be... No, he's not. He's not going to be Premier League ready yet, though. Season's results then. So, starting with the Premier League, we did end up finishing 9th. We ended up 10 points away from any sort of European football. I mean, this would have been a Conference League. We were miles off Europa League. It doesn't help as well. You know, when you're competing with Liverpool and Chelsea for those Europa League spots, rather than, let's say, Everton and Wolves, it's not overly helpful. But I guess that's going to be teams we're competing at. Arsenal have actually won the league, which is interesting. Man United, Man City and Spurs. Again, our home attendance was pretty good. Our top goal scorer is obviously Isaac, but it's not a great season. The FA Cup, we got knocked out in the first round. The Carabao Cup, we got knocked out by Norwich City, so nothing in terms of silverware this season. Biggest win of the season is one that's just happened off camera. It was a couple of matches ago, which was a 4-0 win against Everton. We also beat Spurs in the Carabao Cup. All of that's lovely stuff. Finances then. Club reputation hasn't changed at all. Got some more deals. Our sponsorship has flown up from 89 million to 262 million. Our broadcast revenue's gone down a bit, which is probably because we're not one of the top teams at the moment, but everything else has gone up nicely since last year. Fernandez, Isaac, Guimaraes, Mahrez and Hudson-Odoi, the top shirt sellers over there. This is what we're saying is our best lineup of the season. So Livakovic, Mendes, Nianzou, Silva and Trippier behind Fernandez and Wilcock, Maximin, Palmer, Toivin and Isaac. Okay, that's interesting. Fans player of the season is Isaac, and he is also young player of the season. A signing in the season is Antonio Silva. Goal of the season goes to Isaac. Top goal scorer Isaac with 25 goals. I'm pretty sure that's an improvement. Yes, it is. It's an improvement on last season, which is nice to see. Most assists is Cole Palmer, finally getting someone into double digits there. Highest average rating is Isaac. And we've broke some records, but again, not taking too much notice of them because it is only just against last season. It says your hard work and effort paid off on the pitch. Such a feat didn't go unrewarded at our end of season award ceremony. I mean, okay, that's interesting. This is interesting. So now it will have 2 years on it. So it's got last year. It then goes to players we've bought this season, bringing through talent, blah, 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 blah. So we then get into, just does it really tell you exactly where you go into this season? It doesn't really. Yeah, we've done some purchases. Then this year we received some money. We spent some money. Cole Palmer made a swift impact in joining English Players Young Player of the Year soon after he joined the club. That's interesting. Okay, these are all semi-interesting to see. We've sold on some players that are youth players. Who's got added? Antonio Silva has got added to the best player of the season. I mean, again, I take this all with a pinch of salt because it's only what's happened in FM. It's not like the all-time 11s. There's no Alan Shearer in there, for example. No changes at all in the supporter profile. We've gained some social media followers. Yep, fair enough. Just going up here, there's nothing too interesting on here. Palmer named as players young player of the season, which is what it just said, but we didn't actually see it before it said it. And just to show you as well our end of season results, we had this run here, which we obviously saw. We managed to actually draw against Man City and then win against Bournemouth. Then we lose against Leicester and we've lost against Aston Villa, which kind of sandwiched 2 quite big wins against Everton and West Ham. Again, very, very annoying sort of performances towards the end of the season. We have just been given £211 million. I'd hate to see what this club would give us if we did well. If we did well, it would be absolutely amazing, because £211 million for a club that has just finished in 9th place is just obscene, really, isn't it? If we had a look at our tactic quickly, we'll just have a look at it like this, I think. So if we're in goal, we've got Livakovic, Drummond and Pope. I don't have a massive issue with that. If there's a goalkeeper that comes up that's really, really good, then fine. But I think actually Livakovic, I see he does concede a lot of goals, but I don't know that there's going to be a goalkeeper that will come to the club that would be one that we can actually sign. Let's clear all of this a second. Goalkeeper, interest in transfer, and we've already scouted. I mean, there's nothing in here that I would be super excited about, I don't think. Then none of them are better than Livakovic. I mean, you've got teams like Diogo Costa would be, I think, pretty good, but I don't think he's going to join either. Yeah, he's absolutely not going to join, so there's no point. You just tick this to that, and there's probably no real goalkeepers in there that would be willing to join. Over here, we've got Mendes, Pedazra, and we've got Jamal Lewis. That's kind of our 3. If we could get an improvement on Pedazra, fine, but really Mendes is going to be playing it all the time, so it's not a major issue. Silva and Milenkovic is probably the pairing here that maybe needs a little bit improvement. If we could get another centre-back, I think we would be okay with that. Again, who could we go and find that would be willing to join, though. Let's have a look. For Tomori, that is a lot of money, though. Like, a lot of money to get him to join the club. And then going down there, there's no one that's extremely good. Who did I have on the squad planner? So I've been putting them on here. We've got Andrea Carboni, who, again, if we look at his report, he's not great, actually, is he? He's not bad, but he's not a massive improvement. Pierre Kalulu, who's over AC Milan at the moment. That wouldn't be mad at, but it's a lot of money. This is going to be the issue this season. It's who can we bring in? I think Timber, Trippier and Milenkovic over on that right are absolutely fine. Here, we could probably do with some improvement in the centre of the park, and we could do with moving some people on. I'm very happy here. I think Lamar starts there for the rest of next season because he's been really good, which means over here and over here we're pretty stacked. And up front as well, we've got Isaac, we've got Wilson, and we will have Arezzo coming back. So I think at the moment, if we get a better goalkeeper, great. If we can get a centre-back, great. And then we need to have a look at the centre of the park, as well as the tactic, because I don't think the tactic has necessarily been working all that well. So it's something we probably need to address. Maybe we need to be moving and putting a defensive midfielder in there. Maybe we need to go with more of a diamond, but we have got a lot of wingers. I'm not really sure. We're going to have a fiddle with that during the summer transfer window, and then we're going to kind of have a look from there. But if I just go on scouting a second, because I like doing this, we'll go scouted players just for the moment. We'll get rid of that, just any position. What are the best? Who are the best players that would join us? Declan Rice, I think, would be a very, very good shout. For Tomori, again, would be a good shout, but the money is quite expensive. We then got Kulusevski here for Spurs. Wouldn't be a horrendous shout either, but I very, very much doubt he will join us, really, because he has only just joined Spurs. We've then got Matias Uribe here. Again, would be quite good, but he's 33 years old. Theo Hernandez, again, probably would be great, but we don't need him now because we've got Mendy's over there. We've then got Alexander Golovin. I mean, you have a look, and it's all very good players, but I think what we actually need to do this summer is work out exactly what we want in terms of a tactic and then build for that. Tielemans, I would quite like. Tielemans. What would he say? They would want 34 to 50 million. See, I would be okay with 34 to 50 million. That seems a bit more reasonable. Can we get him to lower his wage? Yeah, okay, that's fine. And as a deep line playmaker, I think that would be a good choice to replace Guimarães, because Guimarães probably needs to go now. It's been a whole season of him moaning he wants to leave. It's probably time now that we kind of do that and let him move on. We're going to go have a look. We're going to work out a tactic, and then we'll come back when we've maybe made some transfers and had a look at what we're doing for next season. So we've actually ended up going all the way through the summer transfer window, and we're on the 17th of August where we're about to play our first match in the Premier League. But that's going to be in the next episode tomorrow. What we're going to do right now is have a look what we've done transfer-wise this summer. We'll go through the outs first. We'll have a look at all of those. You're all going to panic, and then we're going to explain why we've made all those transfers. So the first one out is Florian Toivin. He's left to go to Leicester in the Premier League for 17 million, so a fraction more than what we paid for him. His main problem, we promised him that we would qualify for continental football, which of course we didn't do. And rather than try and ruin the dynamics of the squad, we've just let him go to Leicester. The next one to head out the door is Jamal Lewis, also going to the Premier League. Are Burnley in the Premier League? They are in the Premier League this season. So £5 million for him. Again, a bit annoying because he was English grown. So homegrown. That's the word for it. But equally, I mean, let's have a look at him. Only sign as a last resort. 2 stars, 2.5 star potential. Is he really ever going to make it into the team? Probably not. It's a bet to cash in now. Guido Rodriguez, as we can see, has headed over to PSG, where he's now valued at £115 million. Slightly ridiculous. We sold him for £45 million. He looks like he's had a good start in France, to be fair. He's another one. If you guys remember, a few episodes ago, I mentioned it. He was unhappy because we didn't give him the number 5 shirt in the first season. Completely my fault. Didn't realise that in FM23 it didn't auto-number it based on promises. But it's 2 seasons in, the guy still wouldn't let it go, and he played a lot less games last season. So once again, just better to cash in now. He was by no means a bad player, but I do think we've improved. Matias Arezzo, after spending last season on loan at Brighton, has once again gone out on loan to Brighton. He's played 2 games and scored a goal so far. And for those of you who do want to see, also noticed that Eddie Howe went to Brighton after a long time not in management. He's gone there. Now we loan him our players. The other midfielder that we knew might end up leaving, but we weren't very keen on letting go, is Bruno Guimaraes, our Brazilian midfielder. Obviously fantastic, but in a little bit of a strop. I can't actually remember why he was in a little bit of a strop, but there was something he was in a strop about that we couldn't deal with. I think it's because PSG and Man United last summer came in with offers for him that we didn't want to accept because they weren't high enough. Barcelona have come in this summer. It's still not a lot of money, I feel, for Bruno Guimaraes, not in today's market, but the man wanted to leave. He was kind of ruining the team dynamics because he was one of the team leaders and he was unhappy, so off to Barcelona he went. Elliot Anderson has also gone out on loan. He's headed over to somewhere. Transbonzino. I never know if that's their actual name or if that's a Football Manager thing. But either way, he's gone out to Turkey on loan. It's a bit of a weird one, but they promised that he's going to be at least a regular starter. I think some game time would do him good. Yes, he played a bit of a bit part role for us last season. But actually, if you have a look at that, it was down here 7 starting appearances, but 11 off the bench. And realistically, that wasn't really enough to let him grow. He still has potential to be a good Premier Division standard. He could be a good player for the future, but he probably wasn't going to make a lot of impact this season. So better for him to go out on loan, just get a bit of game time. After coming in last season, Lucas Torreira has also left the club, going over to Benfica. He didn't end up playing a lot of games for us, in all honesty. He kind of filled a gap for a season. 11 million we purchased him for, 20.5 million we've sold him for to Benfica. I think that's a good deal. I kind of hope it's a good deal, but either way, he's left the club and he's off to Benfica, and good luck to him. Danny Vivian has also gone over. I believe Parthenope is actually Napoli, and it's a weird FM thing. We have Juventus and not Zebra now, but now we have Parthenope and not Napoli. Either way, we purchased him for 32 million. He spent a bit of time out on loan, and then we've sold him for 34 million. We've broke about even. We've made a little bit of money on him going out on loan as well. We've brought in some better players. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. But I know this looks a bit weird. We're buying players and then selling them on the next season, but it's all part of the plan. Swear it's all part of the plan. What wasn't necessarily part of the plan was Nick Pope leaving to go to Norwich. He's ended up going for £7 million. That's less than what we bought him for, but in the last 2 seasons he's played 17 games. He didn't play any games at all for the club last season, so definitely not getting in the side. He couldn't beat out the likes of Livakovic and Trubin. I had my issues with him mainly because of his 29 goals conceded at the start of this FM23 beta series, and so he's gone. The only problem with that is obviously he's a homegrown talent. It would have been nice to keep him just for that, but also he was unhappy. Why not let him go? He was also the last of the big names in terms of transfers out. There's lots of loans out of the club for younger players, but now we get to have a look at who we've brought in. And the first player we went in for really early was Declan Rice. Of course, Declan Rice fulfills 2 parts of a puzzle. One, he can cover as a defensive midfielder, and that is what I want to play with this season because our tactics aren't working. Let's be honest, 2 seasons in, I think we probably need to now revert to a defensive midfielder because a 4-2-3-1 is not working. Of course, he has brilliant ability. He still has potential to grow a little bit, and he's English. Yes, we've paid a little bit of an English tax, I think 67 million. Possibly a little bit on the steep side. I don't know. It's really hard to tell in today's market, but he's also homegrown. So Declan Rice coming in to play as our defensive midfielder, finally leaving West Ham after being linked for seasons with Chelsea and Liverpool and Man United and everyone else. He's joined Newcastle, and I hope he does very, very well here because we spent a lot of money on him. Another player we spent quite a bit of money on is Yuri Tielemans. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. I managed to botch it throughout an entire Man United series. So, Tielemans, I hope that's correct. If it's not, comment down below and I'll try and correct it in an episode or two. He's joined Newcastle. He's going to be also playing midfield as a deep-lying playmaker. Guimaraes left the club. We needed someone to replace him. We still wanted to play with a DLP. Tielemans is someone we'd had on our list for a couple of seasons, but they wanted an obscene amount of money for him. We ended up paying 50 million for him, which is still quite a lot of money, but a lot less than the 100 million they were wanting for him in January and last summer. So 50 million for Youri Tielemans to come join the team and hopefully play a good role. Look at that passing. It's so good. Another player from series past whose name I can't pronounce, and there's no way I'm probably going to ever be able to, but we're going to attempt it. Kvaratskhelia. I'm going to call him Kvarat the entire time he's here, because that's what I did when he was at Hertha Berlin. If you haven't seen that, we won the Champions League with him. It was very cool. He's 23 years old in this version of FM, and he comes in as an inverted winger over on the left hand side. We can see, look at that value now. Look at this ability. He's going to be our main starter over there. £45 million we paid for him, but he's had a real good couple of seasons over at Napoli, bagging himself both goals and assists over on this side. In our tactic, he actually plays as an inside forward, so hopefully he'll do really, really well in that position for us. The next player brought in this time was a defender, Mohamed Salisu. Comes over from Southampton, where I assume he is in real life. What year are we in? Yeah, he's there in real life. We paid £54 million for him, but the reason we've done so, if we look at him as a central defender, the lowest attribute in his technicals is 16 here. His jumping reach is good. His strength is good. His positioning is good. He's pretty much an ideal centre-back. Obviously, you can see good ability as well. He should be able to get on the end of set pieces. He shouldn't be out-jumped by strikers. And if he comes up against those strikers that you find in the Premier League, for example, at the moment, Diego Costa at Wolves, he's got good strength and he's got good position. He shouldn't be being caught out by those through balls. And if he does, he's got enough strength to just muscle those strikers off the ball. So another one that comes in, 25 years of age, could be here for a few years yet, and hopefully going to spend a nice time over at Newcastle. I've just realised he prefers to be on the left. That might be why my assistant manager keeps putting him on the left in my tactics. Should really listen to that guy. After bringing Declan Rice in, we also needed someone to come in as a backup defensive midfielder, someone who was happy to be a squad player, which is, I think, what he agreed to in the end. And we've brought in Danilo. He's come over from somewhere in Brazil, SEP. I really don't know Brazilian clubs. I apologise if that's offensive to anyone watching. He's had a great couple of seasons here in Brazil, as we can see, getting himself a couple of goals, getting some assists from that position. He likes to play as a defensive midfielder, which is identical to Declan Rice. That might not necessarily be a good thing in the terms of it doesn't allow us to change tactics, but it is a good thing that when we are building our tactical familiarity, should he come in and out of the side, should be a lot better. He's going to be very capable in that role. He can improve as well. You can kind of see what we're going for here. Good players that can still improve. That's the idea. He should be I think making quite a few appearances this season in that position. And again, I don't think, even if we didn't have Declan Rice and we had to play this guy for a lot of the season, I feel like I'd be okay with it. Because we had, I believe, 2 centre-backs leaving, we've also brought in another in the form of Arthur Tiete. Obviously a Belgian centre-back currently at AC Milan. That's a complete and utter lie. He's at Rennes. Is he there in real life? This confuses me. I think he might be at Bologna. Either way, he wasn't here. He went to Rennes for 17.25 million. We've paid almost £50 million to bring him to the club. I'm really not sure if it's him or Salisu who starts alongside Silva in the centre of the defence. Maybe it's Tiete and Salisu. Maybe it's Silva. We've also got the argument to put Timber in there. It could be any combination of these, but again, we have a look at him. He's had a great couple of seasons, and once again, fantastic technicals, fantastic positioning, great anticipation, great strength, great jumping reach. He looks like a proper Premier League centre-back. Hopefully, we are Newcastle. We've had a bad couple of seasons. It scarred me a little bit, but I think he's going to be all right. Yet another defender coming through the doors, this time to give us some backup in the right back role is Rick Carstop. Where did we find Rick Carstop? We found him over in Saudi Arabia. He also played for Manchester City. I believe at the moment he's at Roma. Is he at Roma or is he at Man City in real life? I think that means he's at Roma in real life, and Manchester City bought him. It never massively worked out there, and he went over to Saudi Arabia, I assume, for a big payday. We've brought him back to the UK for 10.25 million because that is a good amount of ability for someone who's happy to come in and out of the team. He plays as a fullback, which is probably what we're going to be using this season. None of these technicals sort of are outstanding, but they're pretty solid, and his pace is pretty good as well. Look at that, 18 pace for a fullback. He's going to fly up that right-hand side if we need him to, which we might well do at some point. We also brought in Liam Delap. I don't expect him to do a lot. We might even terminate his loan at some point because I'm trying to make another signing, but with Arezzo out on loan, Isaac and Callum Wilson were the only two strikers. Isaac got injured. I panicked. I got Liam Delap. It probably wasn't fantastic. Our main signing for this summer, though, is this man, Mike Mayagan. I don't know if that's how you say his name. It probably isn't. I can't pronounce names. We can see very, very good abilities. Coming to be a goalkeeper. He's an improvement on Livakovic again. I'm aware I'm buying at least one goalkeeper every season. You don't have to let me know. But if you want to, feel free in the comments down below. It helps the algorithm. I like the engagement. He's got great command of his area. He's got great communication. If you put them side by side, he beats out Livakovic on every single section in here, which is really good. He's valued at a huge amount of money. We've paid £96 million for him. Not all of that is up front. That's not how we do things. I believe he's at Milan in real life currently. And what's attracted me to this man is, one, he wanted to join. That was a good first step. And secondly, 27 conceded in 38 games and then 30 last season. He is conceding less than he's playing, which is absolutely key, I think, when looking at a goalkeeper on Football Manager. I would rather take a player that has less of a star rating but concedes less goals than they are playing than someone with a higher star rating, but you look at them and they've played 38 games and they've conceded 50 goals. Because it doesn't matter about their star rating, they are going to concede goals in that match engine. This guy doesn't look like he will. 21 clean sheets and then 16 last season. The fact that that looks like his bad season in Italy, I'm very happy about this signing. It does mean heading into this first game of the season, which again, we're not playing today. It's against Leeds. It will be in tomorrow's episode, the first two games of the season. This is kind of what the side looks like. So you've got Magnan in... Magnan? I don't know how you say his name. Mayagnan. I don't know. The goalkeeper is in goal. We've then got Mendy, Silva, Salisu at the moment, and Timber. Although we have just found out Salisu likes to play over on the right, and Silva likes to play on the left. So do we do that? I'm not sure. Let's just have a look a second. You're not as good at covering as you are playing as a centre-back, and you prefer to be a ball-playing defender. So realistically, we probably just do that. Now you're both playing the right way round. Does that muck the familiarity up? It shouldn't. I mean, it does a little bit, but not majorly, so I'm okay with it. We've then got a defensive midfielder in the form of Declan Rice behind a deep-lying playmaker, which is Tielemans, and then a centre midfielder on attack, which is Fernandez, who obviously has been with us since last season. Over on the left, we've then got Cavarat. On the right, we've got Palmer, and up front, it would normally be Isaac, but obviously Wilson in there at the moment because he's injured. If you have a look at our bench in that case, we've got Pedazra, who would cover at left back, Arthur Tiete, who would cover here. We've then got Karstorp, who can come in for Timber. We've got Donalo, who can come in for Rice. Thomas Lemar, who can cover here as a central midfielder on attack, or over on the left. St Maximum, who can cover on the left. Hudson-Odoi on the right. Liam Delap at the moment up front. I don't expect him to be there all season. And then Livakovic, and not even on the bench, is Trippier, Wilcock, Milenkovic, and then Trubbin as well. I don't think we can get a lot more squad depth in, purely because registration rules and stuff like that. just to let you in on this as well, guys, got quite a lot of players we can't register for the team. If I just get rid of the ones not at club. Zalewski wants to leave anyway, so we haven't registered him. Nianzou wants to leave. He's not going to get registered. Gomez is injured for about another month, and realistically was someone I was going to sell because we brought in all these defenders, so he isn't getting registered. And Mahrez can't get registered either. I'd like to register him, but honestly, if we have a quick look over on this right-hand side, we've got Palmer, Hudson-Odoi, Saint-Maximin can play there, and Cavarat can play there. And on the other side, Hudson-Odoi, Saint-Maximin, Lamar, Palmer can play there, and Cavarat. So I think we're kind of covered. We probably can't fit Mahrez in, which is a little bit annoying because he only came in last season. But never mind. The other player we're trying to bring in is Moussa Dembele. Not necessarily the most prolific striker, but definitely getting it done in France, and is also homegrown because he played at Fulham for a few seasons. So he can actually fit into the team as that squad striker. Probably better than Callum Wilson, to be honest. If we have a look at it, he's quite a lot better than Callum Wilson. He's not actually far behind Isaac, and he's definitely scoring goals and can play as an advanced forward. He ticks all the boxes, so very likely to come in as well. That's kind of it for the transfer window in the summer, heading into season 3 with Newcastle. Let me know what you think of our signings down in the comments below. It really helps with the engagement. Plus, I kind of just like to hear from you guys. If you have enjoyed today's episode, do hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you're happy about these signings, let me know all of that lovely stuff, and I will see you tomorrow for our first matches of season 3 with Newcastle, and hopefully we actually win them.